Hi, this is Deb from Outsider Retirees. We are about to go on a hike here at Goll State Nature Preserve in Ohio. That's our Honda Element that we drive around in because we love that car. And we are going to start out on the Toadshade Trail. As you can see, this is a nice shady trail in a rather dense woods. I believe Goll Woods is a virgin forest. It's never been lumbered. It's not, it was donated to the state, I believe, by the Goll family many years ago. This section starts out in pines. This is the Toadshade Trail. And we're going to do the whole trail, I believe. It's about 1 3/4 miles, so not a long trail. Pretty flat here in Northwest Ohio. So we're still in the early part of the trail. There's lots of still pine trees, but we're starting to get a little more mixed forest. I have been on this trail many times, and I have seen wildlife on here from time to time. We've seen some deer and a few other, we saw wild turkeys. Oh, we have some fellow hikers ahead of us. So, a family, it looks like. With some young children. It is a very child-friendly trail because it's flat and wide. And this is one of my favorite spots on this trail because this tree always reminds me of saguaro cactus, and I have a daughter that lives in Arizona, so we're continuing down the Toadshade Trail. Now the pines are starting to thin out, and the hardwoods and other trees are starting to fill in more. It is fall, so we get some color. We're in a little bit more open section now. Fewer big pines, big trees, more smaller trees. A lot of tree damage. I don't know if this is where a storm went through and took out a lot of the trees. But as you can see, there's quite a few down. It's still pretty damp from recent rains we had. And the trail is turning and twisting a little bit more than it did at first. So we come around a bend. Not too many birds this time of year. Although I've seen some smaller ones, some sparrows and things, probably that stay all winter. Okay, we're coming up to a point where the trail is going to cross a country road that bisects this state nature preserve. But I don't think there's much traffic, so it's not a big deal that there's a road here. See the country road, and we're going to cross and go into the other section on the other side of this road, another section of the State Nature Preserve. Goll Woods has a number of trails, but we aren't going to do them all today in this video. We come here, we don't live that far away, so we come here fairly often enough that eventually maybe we'll make a video about each trail. But now we're across the road into the second section here. There is a head somewhere up here. We'll come along a waterway, a creek, river, a small river. In this section, we're back into taller trees. So if there was a storm that took down trees, it didn't hit over here in this section because we're back into taller tree areas. And there still are some pines. I think they're red pines, but and mixed though, mixed with hardwoods, probably cottonwoods, oaks, maples. A little bit of a small incline, not really hilly, especially if you happen to live or hike where there are hills. Northwest Ohio is a fairly flat part of Ohio. Okay, we're coming up on a lookout over the Tiffin River that runs through this nature preserve. The lookout was built with funds from the state, from the Ohio Department of Natural Resources. We're going out, and as you can see, the river, it's a smaller river, not a large river, but does run right through this nature preserve. Trail's running right along the river, but we probably won't see any wildlife today, partly because I'm talking while I'm hiking. And that would probably send them into hiding. I don't know if you could kayak down through here or not. There are a number of logs in the river, so you'd have to be able to either maneuver through them or get out and on the bank and go around them. I enjoy kayaking as well as hiking, but I've never tried this particular river. Peaceful and quiet. The trail here is clearly marked, and I mean, I don't think there's much chance that anybody would get confused over where the trail goes. You can follow it fairly easily. It has just a dirt surface, no mulch or stone or anything, but so I don't know if I'd advise it coming right after a rain, because you might, unless you aren't afraid of getting your shoes a little muddy. But today at least, which we did have some rain last week, the end of last week, and maybe even earlier this week, today at least it doesn't appear to be muddy, so that's a good thing. One thing I like about hiking in the woods is the way the light filters through the trees. So pretty to see the light, almost like highlighting the leaves. You can see some of the large leaves from the sycamore trees in the area. They grow quite tall and they have large leaves. So the trail becomes kind of leaf covered. Another tree you might run into, I don't see any right here, is walnut trees. Black walnut trees are common in this area and can sometimes create a little hazard on the trail. I'll see if we come across any spots with walnut leaves or walnuts all over the ground. Here's some of those walnuts I was talking about. Black walnuts. And you kind of got to watch so you don't accidentally step on one and move your foot, roll your ankle, anything like that. We're coming up on a swampier part. This part of Ohio is known originally as the Black Swamp area, because that's what the settlers found when they moved here, was a lot of black swampy terrain. And here's some spots that sort of gives you a feeling of what it might have been like. This is not a river or a stream, just a depression in the woods that gathered the water and is swampy. It can be pretty, see the reflection of the trees in the water, but it can also be, if you were actually trying to cross the area to get to somewhere, because, you know, of course, originally there weren't roads or defined trails like this. These look like pawpaw, but they're young and small, and it's not pawpaw season. Pawpaw is the state fruit of Ohio. So, I haven't ever really eaten one. They say that it tastes a little bit like a banana, but I don't think they are real common. They don't keep well, so they aren't transported and sold in stores. And the wildlife like them, so usually they manage to eat them before people would be able to gather and harvest them. Here's some more of the swampy area. In the spring in this area, you can often hear toads and frogs giving out their mating calls, and even small lizards and salamanders and things like that. Here's a bench someone provided in case somebody was tired. They might want to take a short break right here and enjoy the scenery. Because it's fall and a little cooler, we haven't had any trouble with mosquitoes. If you were coming in the summer, I would recommend you take some mosquito prevention techniques, either wearing mosquito netting or spraying insect repellent, things like that, because the mosquitoes in a swampy area like this can be pretty thick. Now I think we're coming back up to the road again. I don't know if it's the same country road or a different country road, but we're coming up on a country road. And the unique thing here on this particular spot on the country road is there's a cemetery where the Goll family, who donated this land to the state, a lot of their ancestors are buried. They were from the I know Fulton County was settled in the mid-1800s, and the Goll family was one of the early settlers. And so they had this whole tract of land was theirs. They probably did farm some, and I don't know how else they made their living, but eventually the descendants of the pioneers who settled here donated the land to the state for this nature preserve. You can see the cemetery over there. I don't think we're going to go through it today. Maybe someday we'll do a video about that cemetery. It's kind of interesting. It has a lot of very old graves in it of the family that settled here. Okay, there's a better shot of that cemetery I was talking about. You can sort of see it's not large, small cemetery, but interesting place. And if you're on this trail and you have extra time, you can walk through that cemetery and just see some of the gravestones, the epitaphs, the things like that can be interesting, historically speaking, and just to get some idea of what it was like for these settlers when they lived and when they died. Now we walk along the road just a little ways, and then we're going to go back into the woods on the side of the road, maybe where we started our trail. But a different section, of course. It is a large loop, the trail. We're going to end up back where we started, back where the parking lot is. There's 2 parking lots in Goll Woods, but the one where we parked is the more frequently used one. Now here you can see the trail is marked. We go this way, and we're going to go through this section. I think in this section there is a buckeye tree, but we're kind of past the common buckeye season. People have either picked up the buckeyes or animals have or something, because I don't see any laying here, but there are some buckeye trees in this section, and I have seen buckeyes here before. If you're not from Ohio, you know, you may not be as enthralled with buckeyes as the Ohio residents. It's our state tree, and of course the Ohio State football team is named for that nut, the buckeye. So, and there's a famous candy too that resembles a buckeye and is yummy and very popular in this area. Okay, now we're coming into a section that has a number of boardwalks laid. I think a lot of them were laid by Boy Scout troops in case of muddy conditions. The boardwalks help give you a place to walk out of the mud. So there are a number of them in this nature preserve to make it easier for people to come and enjoy the natural beauty here. Okay, we're on a place now where the Toadshade Trail kind of comes to an end, and we can continue on the Tulip Tree Trail, or we can go down this little sideway, and that takes you to the other parking lot I mentioned. It's a smaller parking lot that overlooks the river. I think there is one car there. Now we're on that Tulip Tree Trail. If we go down here a ways, there will be a spot where we can cut back to the parking lot where our car is, because although we are used to walking further than this, I have never made a video of a trail before, so I'm not sure how this is going to go. So I think we're going to stop and just do the one trail today. I hope you are enjoying our trip and that you'll be inspired to go outside and do some trail hiking yourself. I read that studies show that people who go outside and walk in nature, it's very good for your health. That it lowers your blood pressure and makes you healthier. Here's that where I said we can cut back to the parking lot. It even says Toadshade Trail, East parking lot. So we're going to go this way. We often continue on and go do the rest of the Tulip Tree Trail, but today we're just going to do a shorter version. Very pretty section. Lots of shade, lots of trees, nice even surface, not hard walking. I think you could push a stroller on this. I don't think they encourage you to bring pets or bikes in the nature preserve. So unfortunately it's mainly for walkers and hikers, so if you want to walk your dogs, you'll probably better choose a different spot than this. There are lots of trails that do encourage pets, but not here in Goll Woods in the nature preserve. Also, there could be poison ivy and along if you're off the trail, and that a lot of people are allergic to poison ivy and break out in a very itchy rash. So I would encourage it for that reason also. And plus, of course, there's hazards like logs, rocks, roots that are concealed by all the leaves and plants, and you might end up tripping and falling and being hurt. Especially if you're a solo hiker. We just passed someone who's alone, and I'm assuming that this person would stay on the trail versus going off the trail where they could get hurt, and then no one might even notice them right away if they were too far off the trail. If they were just nearby, they could still call out for help, but probably better to stay on the trail. There's some of the fall color that I was talking about earlier. Some of the tree leaves are turning very nice with the sun on them. Can't miss that. This time of year is a great time of year to get out and enjoy the woods. Although for me, any time of year is a great time of year to get out and enjoy the woods. I love the trees and the leaves and the shade, and in the spring, the migrating birds that we see. In the summer, the shade provides a nice break from the hot sun. In the fall, we see the beautiful leaves. And in the winter, the woods is a different place. Just a nice, cool, snowy place where you can see the contrast between the wood of the trees and the white of the snow. If you're not, maybe we'll do a video sometime on a winter hike, so those of you who live where there is not much snow or winter can enjoy that. We're nearing the end of our trail, coming up on the road, just down a very short distance from the parking lot, from the trailhead where we entered the woods. So we are about to end our hike. Hope that you enjoyed our hike and that you'll be encouraged to go outside and enjoy some hiking. And maybe we'll do another video another time. But until we do, goodbye and thanks for watching.